everybody. My name's Jonesy. I ride the bus. Occasionally I ride my bike a good amount around town. I don't own a car. And the quality of public transit in this state means a lot to me, both as somebody who rides the bus and as somebody who cares a lot about climate and the environment and reducing car ownership for climate goals. I think it's important sort of to understand the background of where this plan is coming from. Followed the news around the emergence of this plan for a while and the different people who have been pushing for things like this, and there's no smoking gun as to why RIDOT did this, but if you start to pay attention to who's been advocating for it, a picture starts to emerge. So some background. Several years ago, Rhode Island voters approved $35 million in a bond to improve public transit hubs around the state of Rhode Island. That's to improve our public transit system statewide. Simultaneously, we've had a planning process at the city level. Our city planning department has been working on plans to improve Kennedy Plaza, to improve the bus flow, and make it a better experience for riders. And they've been doing extensive outreach, talking to people in the community, building a plan that'll make Kennedy Plaza better. So we've got this money that's supposed to make transit better statewide. We've got our local government working to make transit better here in downtown. Things seem all right? Now, suddenly RIDOT comes out with this plan out of left field that they want to dismantle Kennedy Plaza and build several worse hubs in places that we don't want them. So why is that happening? Where does that come from? Now, the only people, we know that nobody who uses the system or is involved with the system is in support of this. Riders are against it, environmentalists are against it, our local elected officials are against it, community organizations are against it. All of our elected officials for all the districts around downtown are against it. So why are they doing it? We know publicly that Joe Paolino, the owner of the Superman building and multiple properties downtown, has been advocating for years to remove buses and bus riders from the vicinity of his buildings. He's on record. He's spoken in the paper about it. He wants to bury the buses under Kennedy Plaza. He wants to do this with the buses, that with the buses. Anything to get buses and bus riders away from his properties.
That's his hotel, right?
It's his impression of how he's going to raise his property values. He thinks that our presence in the world, our presence in downtown, make his properties less valuable. And he wants to push for any way to get us gone. And so there's no smoking gun. Nobody can say that RIDOT is doing this because Joe Paolino told them to. But all we know is that Joe Paolino seems to be the only person in the state who has advocated for a plan like this. Nobody else wants this plan. And all of a sudden RIDOT, who controls that $35 million of bond money, they come out of left field and say, no, we're not going to build hubs around the state to make transit better. We're going to blow up your transit center downtown and build several worse ones where you don't want them.
Yeah.
Ooh. So, you got to look who's got the incentives, who's trying to push for this, and ask, where do we think this plan comes from? It's not any of us. It's not anybody who uses the bus or benefits from the bus who wants this. It's a misappropriation of voter-approved funds. And ultimately, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation, RIDOT, which controls this bond money, they are only answerable to Gina Raimondo.
Well, and the feds
gave
them the money.
Yeah. So, if we want to take this fight, if we want to continue this fight, if we want to make this plan that's hurting us and hurting our transit system end, we need to take it to the decision makers, the people like Raimondo and Peter Alviti, the director of RIDOT, who are the only people who have the power to stop this plan, which is misappropriating funds and hurting our transit system.